Steve O is here.
Yeah,
Steve-O.
Steve O, one of maybe, next to Johnny,
Yes.
maybe the most popular jackass guy of all
Definitely.
time. God, I've seen those movies, and I swear to God, I'm watching the jackass movies. I'm thinking, okay, now I should be laughing because I consider myself, educated, moderately educated. And then I find myself just howling like I never have at a funny movie.
You shouldn't be laughing.
I shouldn't be laughing. It's like, this is, and then I'm just like the beard when you guys put the pubic hair beard on the guy.
Right.
Were you in on that one?
Yeah, it was actually my idea. I mean, I should say the beginning of it. The initial seed was from a creative meeting we had, and I showed up. I said, "Hey, man, I'm throwing this out there. I found my bush to be so unmanageable. I had to shave it. And it was like such an impressive 70s bush that I actually just stuffed it into an empty druggie bag.
Yeah. So it was enough to fill up.
Well, no, I mean, I was just like, so I've got this 8-ball bag of pubic hair just stuffed. And
okay, if you didn't see, this was 2, I think, Jackass 2.
Jackass 2, right.
2.
And they're like, so then that just started the thinking, like, what do we do with pubic hair? And I had done roll-up joints of just nothing but pubic hair, and then light it for someone. You get the first hit, and I wasn't a doobie; it was a pubie. But we were looking for a new gag, and then someone else. I think I'd just seen the Team America movie.
I love that movie.
Then it was like, okay, so we're gonna put it, and it just grew and grew. I mean, that was the most epic Jackass.
And who'd you pull it on?
Danger Aaron.
Yeah. So he had
also
to be
known as who?
He had to be kept in the dark the whole time. Obviously.
Well, yeah, he kind of lives in the dark.
Yeah. But it's just so funny because they're telling him it's this top of the line. It's a really expensive beard, and it's made out of extra. But when they're doing it, I'm going,
right.
I went to college and I shouldn't, but I can't help it. It's so damn
I
funny.
I don't think that it's an intelligence factor. I think all kinds of smart people would find that funny.
And he's got it all over his face. But the way they pull it on it, then they show him the video of how they got the like the whole shaving process and stuff.
Right.
Oh,
man. It's an honor to have been a part of it, man. I really feel like, it's like a cultural phenomenon, man. I think that there's some real true historic significance to our silly program.
Oh yeah. I think so.
Yeah. And and I out of everything, I've just managed to have this really illustrious career, man. I started out as a circus clown. I went to
went to clown school, didn't you?
I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College. I worked in the circus.
Did you make it to like the big leagues of the circus, or did you?
Well,
did they kind of break? Like I would imagine, Ringling Brothers is the big league of the circus.
Well, Cirque du Soleil, I'd say, is the big leagues.
Right. Yeah.
Ringling Brothers, they're just sort of animal abusers. But
I went to a Ringling Brothers show, and they didn't have tigers and stuff. They had dogs.
Yeah, they're no longer
like
that's cool. Dog and cat acts never bother me because, if you abuse them, you're not going to get them to perform. Is what I believe. But with elephants, you got to break their spirit. When I worked in the circus and they had this tiger act, it was just upsetting because the tiger.
You just torture the tiger into doing what you want it to do, right?
The act was like a magic thing, and so like the box was empty, and then they put a cloth over it, and they rip away the cloth, and now it's stuffed full of a tiger, and of course the tiger was in there the whole time. It just had like an angled mirror.
Yeah.
And then once they get done with that, the tiger in that little box, they wheel him back, and they just like put a cage up to it, and then they and then they move him into the cage. Neither the cage nor the box is really any longer than the tiger's body itself, so this tiger just lived in one or the other its whole life. It just didn't ever get to run or anything. I felt terrible for it.
Now I want to talk a little bit about, you went vegan a few years ago.
I was vegan strictly for 3.5 years. I've since reintroduced fish and eggs, wild caught fish and organic eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but the leather's off the table.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't eaten worn leather, or purchased any leather, or eaten any red meat in a good 7 years.
Yeah. Now, mostly health reasons or compassion?
Well, it started out, as an animal rights thing. compassion is a good word. But then I found that actually it's all kind of aligned. You know, the more compassionate you are in your diet, actually, the healthier you're eating.
Except for this friend of mine I know who says she's vegetarian, but she eats chips and cake.
Oh, right. That's true.
Like
too.
she eats the worst. She eats like if you could give a kid the ability to pick out their diet. What a 7-year-old. That's how she eats, and it's like, well, that is there any point of being vegetarian if you're gonna eat like that?
Yeah.
And I tell her, the chips, they don't make that without animal fat or whatever.
I'll take it with vegetable oil. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna read the ingredients and it'll tell you right on there. But yeah, that's great. The diet known as unsupervised child at birthday party.
She's the only person I know who gained weight after becoming a vegetarian.
Right. Well, you make a great point, man. It's possible. But yeah, so I don't know. Man,
was there a moment where you said, like you had a mouthful of steak or something, and it dawned on you, or was it a process where you decided?
There really was, man. Like I was, and this was right before I got sober, and I was sort of in the habit of doing drugs to the point that I was hearing voices in my head, and
you were doing just the whole plethora.
Yeah, I mean, I would do like cocaine for days in a row, and I'd huff nitrous, like really. I'd inhale more nitrous oxide than air. Like I'd smoke PCP and do ketamine. I'd like do the weird stuff, but always cocaine.
So you were getting off of that.
Sure, yeah, and I would like bring on psychosis because I'd be so deprived of sleep and vitamin B12.
Start hallucinating.
Nitrous. So yeah, it's psychosis. You start hearing voices, and I was really like taken by it. I was fascinated. I just wanted to keep doing drugs to keep doing that because I felt like these spirit people were giving me all this like inside information that only I was allowed to know, and I just needed.
You thought it was valuable information.
Yeah, I needed to keep doing drugs to keep hearing the voices and to keep like the visitors coming. I mean, I was watching people walk around my apartment who were never there. They were walking through walls like the whole bit.
Wow.
And yeah, and
at the time, did you think like they might actually be interdimensional?
Absolutely, and to a degree, I still think that today. I think that.
Have you ever heard of ayahuasca?
Of course, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Have you done it?
I haven't. No, it's so funny because my sober buddies.
Can I explain to them what it is?
Please. Yeah, it sounds like some Native American thing.
It's Native, not Native American, South or Central American, like tribal ritual. Like sort of along the lines of peyote, I guess. But like a really intense hallucinogen that is reputed to help you overcome addiction by a process of when you take it, you just trip so intensely that it takes you.
Guys say
hell.
They've kicked heroin. Guys say they've kicked heroin by going down to South America and doing ayahuasca.
People who have done it describe that it takes you to hell, and then you work your way back from hell through this intense hallucinogenic trip.
How long are they tripping down there?
Well,
not long, I didn't think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've heard it's pretty gnarly, but my sober buddies and I, we just crack up laughing because we hear that, and then we say, you know what? Like, we've been to hell. We really aren't trying to go back. Like I guess that's more of a sober person thing to be funny, but yeah, man, screw that. And with me, I was like hearing these voices and watching these people walk around, and I was just became like really like kind of fascinated and like obsessed with learning more about interdimensional stuff and the spirit world.
Even if I knew it was a hallucination, I'd wonder why would I be hallucinating? I mean, there's something in my mind or some outside force must be trying to tell me something. I've got to find out what it's about.
Absolutely.
That sounds like some Scott Stapp stuff.
Right. And it was clear to me that it was angels and demons at work, which is how I classified it, because some voices that I was hearing were saying like, hey, we're really worried about you. You got to stop killing yourself, this and that. And there was really a lot of like love and, like loving stuff. And then there are other voices I was listening to telling me I'm worthless and I need to suffocate myself to death. And I'm like writhing on the floor trying.
So it's almost really like having the angel
trying to hold my breath until I'm unconscious, which I accomplished a lot.
Yeah. That doesn't work. They told me that in first grade. You can't hold your breath until you can't hold your breath.
Well, if your breath is nothing but nitrous oxide.
Oh well, in that case. Maybe.
Oh well, then you can.
That's called fishing out. And that was always my goal.
If that drug experience sounds almost like a religious experience that you've heard people describe, there's a reason for that, because some people say that holy people back in the day, they would have these kind of visions because of use of drugs, even like stuff in the Bible.
Sure.
People think, well, God told me to do this, God told me to do that. And it was, they were either knowingly ingesting something or accidentally eating these mushrooms that made them feel
I don't doubt that at all. And I think that these chemicals, that these drugs in enough quantities, I think they erode some kind of barriers between us and the spirit world. And I think that, to this day,
would you call yourself spiritual?
Sure. I mean, I'm pretty intensely anti-religion, but yeah, absolutely spiritual.
There's a guy, I wish I could recall his name, but he's up at University of New Mexico in Albuquerque, where I think you went to for a while.
I did. I went there for about a year and a half.
Anyway, he experiments with all this stuff, and he's got a license to bring it in. But the whole subject that he's experimenting is, what is going on the other side that makes, what are we seeing when we do these drugs? There's got to be some truth to it. And he,
how do you get into his class?
How do you, no kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think the most spiritual people that I can sort of say have experienced, they say that they really, with being focused on being in the present moment is what it's all about. You can't worry about the other side. We're not supposed to.
That's what Master Yoda said.
Right.
Be mindful of the living force.
But that's how I got turned on to the vegetarian gig was because here I was like just so obsessed. I'm trying to research the spirit world on YouTube, right? And I'm like looking up, and I came across this wacky video, and it was like this this Indian guy in robes, and he said, "How can you expect to be saved if you eat meat?" Like to him, it was just this preposterous notion that you could actually eat meat and have any thought that you could have salvation. It was just absurd.
Well, that's part of their tradition going back millennia, in the Hindu.
I was like, man, he's right. He's right. And I was like, oh my God. So, and at the time, this was right before I got sober. I was at the end of the line. I mean, I was in terrible shape, and I just thought, and I was like, oh my God, that's what it is. And I'll stop eating meat, and then all my problems will be solved. But what I found was that when I did get sober, I went to rehab and all this, and they were talking about they're talking about building self-esteem through esteemable acts, or whatever. And it just in layman's terms, I guess it helped me, like being compassionate towards animals, not eating meat, helped me feel good about myself when I didn't have a lot to feel good about. Yeah. And that sort of helped me along. The more that I did that I felt good about, the better I felt.
How'd you decide to go back to fish? Because that almost seems like, from where you're coming from, almost like a compromise. Hilarious. It's like, well, you know what? But fish aren't.
Well, yeah, Jesus fed people with fish. Eating fish has to be okay.
That's because he couldn't get a hamburger.
And I don't even believe that Jesus fed. But initially, when the whole thing started, I gave up meat except for fish in the beginning, but that started as a slippery slope when I was on a plane to Canada, and they didn't have Bloody Mary mix, which I like to drink on its own. In Canada, they don't really do that. They have Clamato,
which has clam juice.
And then I was like,
well, you look at a clam and that's more of a rock than an animal.
I was on this plane. I'm like, clams. Come on. Clams doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a brain. I mean,
does
come on. I said, you know what?
I don't even know.
I know. I said, you know what? Screw it. I started drinking Clamato. Then I started reading about, shellfish. And
they're actually very sociable animals.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I said that even lobster, any kind of shellfish, has it just doesn't have a complex enough nervous system to register any kind of emotion or pain.
So I said
screw it. And then I was like, all right, shellfish.
And
then after enough of that, I said, you know what?
Bring on the tuna. Yeah.
And now you're on this thing with Wendy's, the fast food chain. You want them to get a
sure, man, sure. Like, so there's sometimes I'm in a pinch, and I'll go for BK veggie burger.
What do they got on that?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
soy or something?
technically there's there's traces of egg or maybe even dairy. But only in a pinch am I going to mess with that.
Okay.
And I don't really try to go out of my way to eat at any fast food joint, to be honest. But I think it's great because I think it'd just be cool. And a black bean burger is the way to go. So they're what they're testing out there in Ohio, they're doing right.
I tried that once.
Do you got your own recipes? Do you cook yourself, or do you just buy kind of like the vegetarian options?
Yeah, we they're my buddies I travel with. Like we load up on groceries when we travel. And
we saw you were at Walmart
right,
on the conveyor belt.
Right. Hey, you guys really did your research. Yeah. Man, I feel like we're really shortchanging the listeners here talking about vegetables, and we should filthy it up a little bit.
I think it's fascinating, but I agree on some. Here's what I would love to do, Steve-O, and I would love for you to say this is okay. I bring these guys in. Sure. And they got this big golf tournament going on. Ray Mickens was a big football star with the New York Jets. This weekend. Come in, talk to them. They got to get on with their weekend. Kid can probably stay.
Sure,
and
man.
we'll just wrap with Kid for Kid
no
Play,
doubt.
and you'll stick around as well.
Of course.
Okay.
And I just want to assure the listeners that when you come see me at the comic strip this weekend, it's not going to be about vegetables and spirituality.
Let's. Steve-O is in town. You can see Steve-O at the El Paso comic strip. You're doing
6 shows, man.
6 shows. So 2
night.
tonight and 2 tomorrow night. All right, on. All right, Kid, my good friend Kid.
What?
I've known Kid for a long time.
Who's Kid?
Kid Reid.
What?
From the famous
Buzzy
Kid Play.
Right, Buzz. Can I make a public apology?
Sure.
Because we were supposed to be here yesterday. All right, and. You know what?
Do you want me to tell you what happened? I got the whole story.
You got the whole.
Do you?
I'll
tell you.
Do you really have the whole story?
Kid was waiting in his hotel.
I was,
room.
and guess what, Buzz? Let me tell you how you know I was ready.
Because I called and you've answered on the first ring.
And didn't I? Right, and I was still in my clothes from that night. Exactly. That's how you know I was ready. I had my shoes, everything. I was like, I know it's going early. So I didn't even bother getting out my clothes. They said the
guys that went to pick up Kid were just waiting outside for him to walk outside.
No, it was George Jimenez. So
George says he didn't show up.
Yes. I love him, but I got to put it on him. It's George. Because we went out the night before. We went to, I don't know, someplace. And we got hammer time.
No, not George. He left early. George left early.
He always says that. He always says that. I left early. No, he didn't leave early. But that's good. Good to see you. Buzz, you got rid of there used to be girls on your show. Now you got rid of all the girls.
I didn't get rid of anybody. People shoot now.
They laugh.
Just because you know what?
I know. All right. I'm just saying that's the word on the street.
Not true. It's not because they can't take me.
Oh, really? Yeah, you get. I mean, you're good.
People come and go. Just like anything else. You see, anytime somebody leaves a band, you think, oh, they had a big fight with the lead singer and the guitar player. Not the case.
You're the Scott Stapp
I like, the thing with Scott
KLAQ.
Steve-O, you're familiar with the band Creed, right?
Of course, yeah.
I knew those guys.
Steve-O. I love Steve-O.
I knew all of them except Scott. But when they broke up, this really says something.
Why are you trying to distance yourself from Scott over here?
No. When they broke up, all the other guys formed another band without Scott. That kind of tells you, okay, there's something.
The stuff that we were talking about before, it seems like he's got going on.
He said that he was hallucinating. He thought his family joined ISIS.
Right. Sure.
Hey, he went off.
At work.
Yo, can I tell you something?
Yep.
First of all, I'm a huge Steve-O fan. I'm a big Jackass fan. And I don't know if you remember this, Steve, but we was at remember they did the 2.5. They did a premiere.
That was
party.
Like extra material from 2.
Sure,
They did a premiere party in LA at a Paramount in LA, and you was there and Ryan was there. You know what I mean? Right. And that was like a few months before he passed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was 3.5.
3.5. My bad. 3.5. Right. Yeah, you know what I mean? And they had all the rides it was like so effing cool, man. And I remember you were there and Ryan was there. and it was just a great time. And then like, and then it wasn't too long after that Ryan passed, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And man, he was so cool, man. And when you go back and you look, especially now when you go back and look, it made me go back and look when they showed them old joints. Like, dude was like mad cool. You know what I mean? He was fresh, man. And that's why I get it.
You were really close, really super
Yeah, I'm
close
saying
to
that's
him.
why I get it. Like I get it. Like when cats say, "Yo, man, dudes started tripping after Ryan passed." I get it. There's a guy like that, man. And people don't understand it. Like, famous people. When we lose somebody, we lose somebody that like you never heard of, and it messes us up because you don't know what that dude meant to us.
Celebrities don't just have celebrity friends.
Am I wrong?
Right.
Steve? Like everybody don't know Ryan. You know what I mean? Ryan wasn't like you or Johnny or like Bam, but he was heavy, man. Right?
That's right.
And that's the joint. But he was a good dude, man. That's a good dude.
Yeah.
And he went hard every day. He went hard every day.
Somebody told me the reason you were a day late or a few hours late.
No, I'm gonna tell you.
No, listen. They said that you got a call or something, and you were hanging out with Snoop Dogg, and that Snoop Dogg called up, and you started hanging out with Snoop Dogg, and you had to take a later plane.
Okay, that's partially true. That's partially true. Okay, so this Snoop Dogg, man, I don't even know. My boy called me. He said, "Yo, Snoop Dogg is DJing at this club in West Hollywood, like where I live in West Hollywood, right?" So I was like, "What?" So I was just flying in from Fort Worth. I was in Fort Worth in Dallas last week. Man, we flew in, man, and Snoop Dogg is DJing, man. And they smoking weed, and everyone's smoking weed.
You can do that
in West Hollywood.
In a club, you can smoke weed in a club. No, I don't think so.
What? Yeah, you can. West Hollywood, you can.
Yeah, you kind of can. Everybody's
in West Hollywood. In West Hollywood, you can. In West Hollywood, you can, because they're just like whatever, dude. You know what I'm saying? And so we went, and my boy got me in the joint, and we on the stage with Snoop and Daz and Corrupt. And the dudes from One Direction is in there, and there's white people everywhere. Yeah, you love my Hollywood stories, Buzz.
I love them.
Yeah,
love them.
Right. No, and we was there, man. We was smoking and it was like the people in the club, like
you weren't breaking any laws.
No, they wanted to do something, and they couldn't. They saw me with a big old blunt.
I think that's so illegal.
They couldn't do nothing, and we was smoking and Snoop was playing old school. He was playing like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and he was playing like, you know what I'm saying?
So he was DJing.
He's a terrible DJ. Like he ain't no he ain't like that, but he played what he want to play. And he's Snoop Dogg. And the audience is 80% white, and they're like, whatever, Snoop, whatever you want to play, go play, black dude, play.
Who likes weed better, white people or black people?
Oh, black people, definitely.
Yeah.
Black people.
I don't think that's a
you know what they do? Well, I tell you what.
I know some white people who love it.
You might be. I might be wrong. I tell you what. I tell you what. Black people need weed because it keeps us. Black people need weed because it keeps us from choking white people.
All right.
Hey,
let's talk about the event.
I want to say, by segueing over to this, Ray Mickens is a real straight arrow, and when you had with the kids, you tell the kids stay off of the drugs.
I know. I'm talking about weed. Ray is like, what are you talking about?
And I'm like, it just doesn't mix with the program I'm about to talk about right now.
Right.
Was here, Chris Kid Reid also is here, and
that's a lot.
Steve-O's going to be here for 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow.
And we're not coming in from Mexico.
You're doing Sunday?
I'm doing the whole weekend, man. 6 shows.
Tell Steve-O.
Last night, sold the place out on a Thursday, which I'm pretty psyched about. I think we're going to sell out the whole weekend, so I wouldn't want to,
Word.
You do something kind of stunty on stage, you mentioned.
Yeah, I just do a couple tricks at the end of the show.
Fire?
I used to light myself on fire. I don't really do that anymore.
Oh, my.
Like too many comedy clubs and theaters would get uptight about
They got ordinances.
Yo, right. Wait, what was that? What was that rock band that set the whole set the whole place was
that's
on fire.
Pyrotechnics, yeah.
Right. That was kind of a different deal, but yeah, man. And what Kid was saying too about, I really kind of was feeling that about being in one arena and then moving over to another one where they know Kid as a rapper, and then
they know you for doing the craziest stuff in the world.
I'm known for breaking bones and shoving things up my butt. People hear that I'm doing. I'm in a comedy club. It's like, wow, is he gonna punch himself in the balls for an hour? So yeah, I feel that, and I'm so grateful to be able to do that too. To
tell him, Steve, right? You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine it? Can you imagine that? It's like everything that you've accomplished,
right?
But when you go into this new arena, it's like you had zero.
It's almost like sword. I mean, there's two sides of it. In one sense, you've got a built-in audience that's interested in you and wants to come and see you and give you a chance. In another sense, there's people who won't take you seriously because they don't know you for doing that.
Right, and you got to deliver. At the end of the day, you got to deliver.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of celebrities known for one thing who tried stand-up. And did it briefly and it didn't work. But I'm happy to say that I've been touring. Yeah. I've been touring consistently for 4.5 years now as a headliner. Wow. And
no, Steve-O is real. Steve-O is real.
I couldn't be more real with the stand-up. And if anybody doesn't believe that, then it's going to be all over.
No, and you enjoy it. That's the thing people don't understand. Like we started doing it and we like it. Like I like it. I love. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you wouldn't do it if you didn't like it.
Sure.
And for me. It was, I had great comedian friends of mine that pushed me into it. And then when I started doing it, I was like, yo, I really like this. And you like it.
When it's good, man. I love it.
I'm petrified on stage. I've had to go up before. And just so scary.
First time I tried it was in 2006, almost 9 years ago. And I got invited to a comedy club in Hollywood, the Laugh Factory.
I love that. It's my spot. Right. That's a great club.
This guy was doing a show and he said, hey man, can I get you to come to the Laugh Factory and do a crazy stunt on stage? I said, you know what? Sure, man, let's do it. And so I showed up and I walked in. I couldn't think of anything crazier than me trying stand up. And I was like, I just like you said, I was petrified, absolutely terrified. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. This is nuts. And I tried it. And that first time I just had a good experience. And before I left that night, I scheduled my return and it's just always been a thing since then. So, and I'm just so grateful for it too. I had like Dane Cook really take me under his wing.
Dane, right? He's king of the Laugh Factory. That's his spot.
And now I've been at it for like I said, quite a while, and still people don't really associate me with stand up. But I think that's all going to change because this year I'm doing my first comedy special.
Oh wow!
And when that comes out and people are like, wait a second, hold on here.
That's right.
Steve-O has his own Showtime comedy special. Then I think the game's really going to change. But in the meantime, man, like I just haven't. I've sold out all my shows for ages.
And do you incorporate like jokes and stunts?
Well, yeah. I mean, the way that I do it, I mean, like, I don't have any need to deal in fiction at all, just because my life has been so ridiculous and so interesting.
You can tell true stories without embellishment. Right?
I'm rigorously honest and I'm downright shocking. Period. Like the stuff that I'm willing to admit is so utterly insane that it's like you could say that I do stunts with my body on Jackass. I do stunts with my words and my stand-up.
Do you, Steve-O, ever get the feeling that something comes up and you think, I might try this. And then you think, well, that's something I would have done 10 years ago. But,
or do you, as far as like doing stupid stunts?
Yeah, keeping it. Do you ever feel like you're aging and it's not the type of thing you do?
You know what? Like, it's not that I'm like too old to do stunts, because I just like, I keep going. And I'm like, I've got my eye on this one thing coming up that I'm like terrified about and just kind of feel like I have to do. Like I'm pushing myself with stunts like even harder than I ever did before in a lot of respects. And I'm also like, just, I'm not like switching over from one thing to the other. I'm just really diversifying. So I just do more.
Well, I think Johnny always said, even when he got to be, the main, he was the guy.
Sure.
That he would still do the things that he wouldn't back down from anything.
He's the gnarliest. He's the gnarliest.
See, when I started out doing radio, it was just me. So if I had to go out and embarrass myself and do a stunt or whatever, but as soon as I got like a little bit of
Well, once you have something to lose.
Once I got something to lose, I'm like, I'll make Fernie do it.
Sure.
I don't want to do it
every
anymore.
radio station has a punching bag.
Yeah, right. But
That's
I was
me.
my own punching bag. It seems like you're still your own punching bag.
Sure. Yeah, and Knoxville, I just can't say enough how like really
That's like the
gnarly he
CEO of
is.
the company saying, you're having trouble making this sale? I'll go make this sale. I'll go do it right now.
But it's so much crazier than that even. And just so much respect for Knoxville and just the integrity that he's had with having so much to lose and just still throwing it all on the line.
Pretty awesome.
Tell me about you.
Plus, like he doesn't like with me and for sure like Bam, like we like grew up falling skateboards. Like we really have like a skill set and like experience like with stuff where we sort of we have special talents and abilities that we bring to it that are on our side. Knoxville has none of that. So when he straps himself to a rocket or when he gets up on top of the thing, like there is nothing working in his favor. He's not good at falling down. He's not
an extreme athlete in
he's
any.
He's not an athlete.
It's
He's
just
not
love.
coordinated.
It's right.
He's just, and that's what makes his stunt so epic.
All right, let me take a break here real quick. We'll come back. Give it just a few more. I want to come back talk about your new business.
Buzz.
Kid, break. Come back. I'm going to talk about what Kid is getting into. It's in the medical field.
What?
So, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
No way.
I'll tell you about it in a minute. More with Steve-O too right after this. Steve-O, you want to talk about your sombrero Saturday?
Sure,
you want to get the word out on that?
Sure.
All right. What are you doing?
I am hosting an event / competition, which anybody who's wearing a sombrero and is over 18 and has an ID can enter. And I'm doing this tomorrow, Saturday at noon at a place on the outskirts of El Paso called the Sandbox.
Yeah.
The Sandbox. Is that a building, a structure,
it's a business that primarily is about sand / beach volleyball.
Yes.
They got all these sand volleyball courts.
It's pretty
and
cool.
So I'm gonna have all these events now. Like with my social media, I've done like a lot of meetups and stuff. I'll say like, hey, and this isn't what I'm doing here. It's what I did before. In Iowa, I said I want everyone to make homemade parachutes and bring a homemade parachute and a TV set so we can go throw them off a roof. And like we're running around Iowa throwing TV sets and with homemade parachutes off of roofs.
Swag.
We had a really great time. I had a breakdance toga party in London.
Swag.
I had a homemade raft race. Like, I just do all this like wild stuff, and I've had so much fun doing it. I thought, you know what, like this would be like this would be a really cool idea for a TV show, sort of like guerrilla kind of flash mob, like crazy competitions organized on. So it's kind of like a game show, but it's like more just like pandemonium. Just so I'm filming like basically what I consider a pilot. Here in El Paso.
Yeah.
And so the visual of a lot of people wearing sombreros just
hilarious.
to show like how many people I can bring out to a location.
Swag.
And then when we get there, I'm going to tell the people what the actual contest
You don't want to
of.
let them know ahead of time.
No,
because I wouldn't want anybody to be discouraged and not show up.
Should they bring their best sombrero, or should they bring a sombrero that like, what if it's their grandfather's heirloom sombrero?
I don't care. Well, no, if it's your grandfather's like family heirloom sombrero, I'd say probably find an alternate one.
Yeah.
So the sombrero could suffer damage.
I can say that it's like, the idea is that it's going to be like, it's physical to a degree, and I'm going to have people doing things that it's going to be tough to keep your sombrero on.
You got to tie it really tight with the strings on.
No, but strings aren't allowed. Like the string is no one can have the string underneath.
Well, the one we have here has a string.
We showed Steve-O just to show you how serious he is about this animal stuff. We showed Steve-O the sombrero. And he said, that was a great sombrero, but I think this might be leather.
Leather. Right.
I think that's pleather.
Yo, Steve-O is down with the animals.
That's right.
Steve-O.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love animals?
Thank you for asking, man. I think we'll see what happens. I'm gonna film everything, and I'll have a good prize for the winner.
Oh, there's gonna be a winner.
There's definitely going to be a winner.
Right.
I have 3 events, 3 sombrero events.
So all you have to do is show up at the Sandbox. What time?
At noon.
Noon.
Sandbox. You can Google El Paso Sandbox, and it'll give you.
It's 3561 Jared Drive.
You could participate if you're
if
18.
You're over 18, have your ID, and are wearing a sombrero.
That's a great sombrero,
and
man.
Pants.
I gotta tell you,
You gotta have pants on. You need pants.
Well, actually, a bathing suit would make sense.
Right.
Okay.
See that,
I mean,
Steve-O. That's your uniform.
You
Steve-O got a
you
bathing
can't
suit.
win without getting wet tomorrow.
All right, Kid, let me talk to you. Kid is here. Kid Reid, who I've known for a decade, 2 decades probably.
Love Buzz.
Right. What are you doing in the medical marijuana field?
Okay.
You have your own
marijuana field.
Oh, yes.
There was a period about 20 years ago where like Santana had his own wine. Everybody had their own wine. Now it's like celebrities are getting their own weed.
Like Willie Nelson.
Right. I'm gonna try to tell you real quick. All right. All right. You know, I love you, Buzz. I love your show, and fans of your show knows that I'm a fan of the Wizzy. But you know what? This is the thing, man. You know what? Rappers, we just not selling records like we used to. So we got to sell something else. And you're selling like what your life is about, and part of what the life is about is weed. And so I got connected with these great people from Northern California. They call Loud Seeds. Check them out. They won cannabis cups and everything. And
they approached you, or you approached them?
We approached each other.
Crossed paths.
We approached each other. Yeah. And so we're coming up with all these different strains. The first one is called Kid and Cookies. And we're gonna have Kid and Cookies. We're gonna have Kid and Blaze, Kid and Haze, Hot Top Fade.
Is Play into this?
Play is so not into this.
No.
He's trying to discourage me because the problem is
because it sounds like Kid and Blaze is almost like it sounds like Kid and Play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
but it's not Play. So,
but I'm Kid, and I get to do that. But no, this is the thing. No, the problem is, we have to find that balance because, we still do stuff like, we still perform together, and we do corporate stuff for like State Farm and stuff like that. So it's a little thing, but it's something that I'm into, and we'll see. So when I get the chance, I'm
don't send any through the
not
mail.
Gonna say no.
I know that you're gonna be like, Buzz, you got to try.
Right.
Don't. It's Texas.
Buzz,
this is Texas.
I know, but wait, you the one told me that Texas is trying to do it. Texas is trying to do it.
They've got a bill, but it's never going to pass.
How do you know?
Because for every place you go in Texas where you think, oh, Austin is cool, it's kind of like it's kind of like Northern California. Austin's awesome. For every Austin, there are 1,000 backwater redneck Baptist church on every goddamn corner.
And that's never gonna go for it, right?
Someday, weed will be legal in all 50
I swear
states.
to God, you'd be surprised. I'll tell you what. I got a homeboy of mine. He's been a marijuana advocate for like 20 years, and he's gone to jail for it. And I remember
Tommy Chong,
just like a Tommy Chung, This cat, his name was Todd McCormick. He was actually really tight with what's my man?
Freeway Ricky Ross?
No, the dude from Cheer. No, he was in jail with Freeway Ricky Ross. But no, Woody. He was Woody Harrelson. Yeah. He had the if you remember back in the days, it was called the Marijuana Mansion. And they had all these different. They had, he went to jail for that.
Where was that?
It was in LA. Yeah, it was in fucking Beverly Hills.
Watch that down.
I'm sorry. It was in Beverly Hills. That's how crazy it was. So the point I'm trying to make is, I remember back then he was telling us that all this stuff that's happening today was gonna, man, you can buy it in the store, and we were like, man, you crazy, man, that ain't never gonna happen. And everything he said that was gonna happen happened. So I mean, and the thing is too, what brings the Republicans around is the money. Look what's happening in Colorado. Man, they making money.
It's not all about the money. Some Republicans do like to get high.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But wait, don't you remember this same argument was about casinos? like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We'll never have a casino. No. Well, all right, we'll just pull it up along
Well,
along the side.
here's what they say.
It's
We'll
not.
never have
It's a
casino.
boat. It's a boat. It's not really on. It's a boat.
But if the Indians want to have a casino,
exactly right. You know what I'm saying? So you know what it is. Just follow the money.
What if at some point in the future, 20 years down the road, marijuana is legal, it's in stores,
and
all 50 states,
and it won't be cool anymore.
Is somebody kind of come along and say, you know what though? How about medicinal cocaine?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Shocking.
Hey, Steve-O, Knoxville.
Steve-O, what's up?
Knoxville is a good-looking guy. You're a good-looking guy.
Well, thanks, man.
Knoxville started, I think he dated Jessica Simpson for a while.
No, he didn't. Really?
It was speculated.
It was speculated that Knoxville was dating Jessica
Steve-O,
Simpson.
who did he bring around?
No, but I want to know. Steve-O probably had girls, and probably some of them had some screen credits or something. Who have you dated, Steve-O? And by dated, it could have been.
I know some of them girls in Steve-O dated.
I'm not going to fall for it. I don't. In one sense, I think that if you want to keep doing well in that department, you kind of can't answer that question too much.
Then be general. Tell me.
But then again, what am I saying? I mean, you can Google my
Google Steve-O's old coochie.
There's nothing. There's nothing like not public about it. Like it was a big story that I was dating George Clooney's ex.
Which one? He has like a million.
That's every girl in LA.
This great woman, Elizabetta.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, she was a hottie. Yeah, I remember that.
2012. Most of that year.
God, if you could bang one of George Clooney's exes, that would be like going in the NBA and playing for the Bulls and getting to wear Jordan's number almost. That would be like, I don't feel that I'm worthy to be inside this thing.
or you smashing it better.
How about like an event at a Playboy Mansion or something like that? You do very well in a situation like that with the ladies.
I don't know.
Come on, don't
let me tell you. I live in LA.
All the ladies flock to him.
Yo, Steve-O, let me tell you, Steve-O's hot in LA. Okay, can I tell you this? I live in LA. Steve-O's hot in LA, and you know me. Let me tell you something. This is the thing. I may have personal knowledge. The thing about Steve-O, like he's like a legend. Like period. Like for dudes, like everybody, every dude, like they mess with Steve-O. But with ladies, this is the thing about Steve-O. Steve-O, he's tender.
Oh, deep down inside.
Yes, he's tender.
Are you when you've been in a relationship, you're a good boyfriend
or not? Wait, let me tell you. Talk to one of Steve-O's exes. They love him. They're like, oh, Steve.
Yeah. I don't have any bad relationships with any exes.
No, they
sensitive.
love him.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Like to do stuff she likes to do.
I mean, sure, I do all that.
Yo, you stick a car up her butt.
You know what thing is, Steve-O?
Now we go together. We both got cars up our butt.
Now, you meet some guys that you know from movies on TV and stuff, and it's like, wow, I really don't. Steve-O looks just like Steve-O. When you see Steve-O, and he's got more than that. He's got like one of the most recognizable voices.
And and Steve-O's back looks like Steve-O.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have that big tattoo of yourself.
Have you done any voice acting before? Because if they put your voice, I mean, that'd be
I've done
great.
some stuff here and there.
You should, bro.
But nothing like a Toy Story or anything, right?
No. Sadly.
Oh my God, you should. This guy, yo, I'm swear to God, if you don't got a voiceover,
you did voiceover, didn't you?
I do voiceover. Yeah, are you kidding me?
Like on video games and stuff.
Everything, like video. I mean, I do a show on the NFL Network. I do animation. Yeah, hell yeah, Steve-O.
That's easy money, right?
I mean, when you get the job, it's not. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like you got to get into it.
Let me give you an example. The Harry Shearer is a super talented guy from The Simpsons. He doesn't want to do the last two seasons of The Simpsons.
Oh my gosh, Steve-O can do it.
6 seasons into a hit like that, it's a different story than when you're doing a pilot or
right. But any of those voices, it seems like that's pretty easy. You don't have to dress up. You don't have you can let yourself go if you want to, right? He gets paid $7 million a season.
It's the easiest money.
Yeah.
$7 million a season, but he does a bunch of voices.
Yo, Steve-O.
23.
Yo, I'm telling you, voiceover is the easiest money.
23 characters.
Yeah.
That's swag.
You
I mean,
say
Steve,
voiceover's easy?
voice. I mean, you have to get into it. But I'm saying once you're into it, like you said, you can do it at home. You can do it at home in your drawers. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Draws.
In your drawers.
I don't know how you act, and then the other person records their voice, because how do you decide how you're going to react to their line without hearing them do their line?
Man,
right. What you want to know is do they do the animation first, or do they do the?
No, they do the voice first.
What?
Are you?
Nah, I don't think so.
I thought it was vice versa.
I think they.
No, it depends. It depends because it depends.
Draw it
I've done
first.
it both ways. Like you know what I mean. They do the dialogue and then they pattern the animation around the dialogue. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so.
No. I mean,
don't think so.
the times
They
I've
do
done
the animation in China, I think. They
No,
do
Oh,
for
yeah,
The
they-
Simpsons.
Whatever.
Oh, they definitely do it in China.
All right,
Everything is done in China.
Steve-O, I'm going to let you guys go. You got better things. to do
No.
than this. No, you got to.
Steve,
You guys
I
got
got
it.
some stuff I got to film today
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not saying what that is.
Uh-oh.
All right, Steve-O, you can go see this show. I'm really super curious and interested to see what Steve-O brings to the
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
So
Oh man,
I think I'm going to
last
head
night
out there
was-
Saturday.
I think last night, because with stand up, you can do your best show ever, and it's really up to the crowd how good of a show it's going to be. Both myself and the crowd together, I think we delivered maybe the best show I've ever had.
Really?
Period. Yeah,
Right here in
so-
El Paso.
It made me think that I want to film my comedy special in Texas.
Wow.
come on,
you know?
come on.
There's no question.
Come
The
on!
Texas crowd is epic, man. And again, they say El Paso is a walk-up town, but I just don't think you want to try and walk up tonight, because last night was sold out, and I think just
You better call
the
even
whole
for
weekend's
Saturday.
going to be sold out.
You could go to
especially for Saturday.
you go to Bart's website, which is laughtonight.com.
It's
That's right.
LAFF, the number 2, and then NITE.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
Bart
I-
didn't spell a single one of those words right.
Exactly.
Not one.
It's been the same one for 20 years, right?
Right. And I don't know. I genuinely love Texas, man. I really do. And,
That's right.
and this whole weekend, it's game on, man.
All right.
Nice.
It's always a party, Steve-O.
and
Who's not
also-
going to have fun when you're with Steve-O, right?
Yeah, and after every show, still, no matter what, like I take a picture with the entire audience, every single person that wants one.
Anybody that wants a picture, you
Every
look
single
happy to
person
take
that
a
wants
picture.
a picture,
Steve just took a picture
Every
with me.
last one.
He's love.
every last
Steve-O
one.
is
Yeah.
love. Steve-O is love.
Hey, now listen, kid, are you playing in this tournament today? Do you play in the golf tournament?
No, you know what I do? I
Drive a cart around.
Exactly, and I go drink beers and so I will be there.
All right. Where you
Oh
going?
my God.
What, we gonna get sushi later?
Yeah,
You
we'll-
big sushi.
You don't like sushi?
I don't.
You don't like it?
I like real sushi.
Oh.
I want all the women out there to know that I'm a connoisseur. You eat sushi, Steve-O?
You bet I do.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
I
I'm back on the fish.
I eat
Yeah.
real sushi.
All right. Well, listen, I'll try and find out where you're hanging out with all those NFL stars later, kid. Okay.
Exactly. That's what's up, Buzz.
All right.
You know we love
I'll
you,
check
Buzz.
it. Love you
Steve-O is
man.
a
They're
G. Buzz, stop firing these women.
I'm
God
not
damn.
fired any of them. They all quit on their own accord.
Yeah. Hey, good times, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Steve-O.
We'll
Let's take
see
a
you on the
break.
comic strip.